In today's episode of the podcast, I am going to be taking viewer submissions of go-to ride or die knitting patterns and ranking them on a 5-tier ranking system with a 0 to 25 point rating system with a 5-point ranking criteria. And this is all going to be based on first impressions. It's going to be a lot of fun, very lighthearted, and super geeky. So if you're ready to get into it, get comfy and let's dive in. Hello, and welcome to the Wool Needles Hands Knitting Podcast. My name is Tayler, and I will be your host. Today we're doing something fun, kind of inspired by Ravelry Roulette. If you've been on the channel for a little while, you know what that series is all about, but also inspired by you, the viewer. I posted in the comment, or in the Patreon community tab, that I needed folks to send in submissions of their ride or die go-to, most coveted, most thought about knitting pattern over on Ravelry, whether you've knit it before or not. Maybe it's just something you're always eyeballing every time you think about starting something new. Just that one go-to pattern, especially for folks who have particular patterns that they've knit a few times. And I just wanted to hear what you guys had to say. And I was going to compile, and I have done this, compile all of those patterns onto a wheel so that we can spin and choose 10 at random. At which point we will then dive into each of those and I will be ranking them. I have this guide that I created here. It's a knitting pattern tier ranking guide. It is going to be a 5-point criteria, which is what I'm using to rank each of these based on first impressions, Ravelry pattern pages only. I have a score system going from 0 to 25 points. I'll be ranking by the 5 following criteria. Repeatability. Does it look like the kind of pattern somebody's going to want to knit more than once? This is kind of your ride or die, something you're going to want to repeat because it's kind of addictive, those kinds of things. The wearability or the practical use. Some of the patterns that were submitted were not clothing. They were items that were, more functional or decorative. So whether it is wearable or practical, and this just refers to something that you're actually going to wear or you're actually going to use. The third is pattern page quality. Is the pattern page well presented and organized? I feel like this is a very important part of the pattern shopping process because how organized and clear that project or pattern page is going to be is really going to determine your first initial experience with that pattern. If it's easy to see what's going on there, if it's easy to see what the designer is offering, you're feeling much more confident about spending the money if it is a pattern you have to pay for. So I'm going to be looking for that as well. Then the design intelligence or how intuitive the pattern is. Does it have interesting construction? Does it look like the construction comes together in a clever way that is, intuitive, logical, or interesting, or fun, but not too overly complicated. And then the fifth criteria here is the aesthetic impact. So how impactful is it when you first look at it? For me personally, is the aesthetic that I get from the photos, from the item itself, is that giving me the impact that I want for a pattern, right? And so for me, I'm looking at the styling, the photography, the different colors that have been chosen, and the general overall vibe. And I will be, of course, matching that to my personal preferences accordingly. So those are the 5 criteria that I'm using. And then I'm going to be giving each of these a score. I even have my calculator. We're getting into it, okay? We have from 0 to 25 points. The ranking scale that I'm going to be using is, you probably have seen this if you're watching booktube videos or anything where anybody's ranking things on a tier ranking scale, you've probably seen something that looks like this. Well, this is what I'm going to be using today to rank these patterns. You have your S tier, which is your top notch. That's like the top of the line, right? That's where you're going to put your very top items that you're ranking. And for me, that's anything from 23 to 25 points based on those 5 criteria. And then you have your A tier, which is 19 to 22 points. And I broke this down to kind of give you some perspective. S tier, top of the heap, everything works, the patterns are iconic. That's your 23 to 25 points. A tier is strong, stylish. Maybe it has a little bit of a final spark that's lacking, but it's really highly recommendable. This is going to be your 19 to 22 points. And then I have the B tier at 15 to 18 points. It's dependable. It has potential. It's good for specific styles or preferences. It's not necessarily an overall winner, okay? And then we have our C tier, which is 11 to 14 points. I said serviceable, but uninspired, okay? Not bad, just not remarkable. And then you're going to have your D tier, which is 5 to 10 points, falls short. Maybe it lacks clarity on the project page. Maybe it's not as appealing. Something like the vibes are off, okay? So that's how I'm going to be rating this. And this is all going to be first impressions based. I'm not going to tinker around for too long. We have 10 patterns to get through here. Another thing to consider, and this maybe would warrant a part 2 to this video, or maybe just another video with the same wheel of patterns that I'm selecting from here. The patterns I'm selecting are being selected at random. So I might have some garments. I might have like socks or a shawl, or maybe, I don't know, like a amigurumi. So I don't know. It's all going to be different. So comparing one to the other is going to be challenging, but we're having fun. We're having fun, and that's the main thing here. Okay, the first part of this video, though, what I'm going to do first is we're going to spin to pick the patterns at random. We're going to pick 10 patterns. I'm going to actually just have to write them down right here. And then once we're done doing that, I'm going to, with the help of movie making magic, real quickly get little pictures of each of the patterns that I can add to my tier ranking. Okay, so let's go ahead and head over to my computer here. So here we are. This is the wheel of all of the patterns up to the point that I just completed this morning. I'm going to give it a spin. We're going to spin 10 times. Okay, we're going to choose 10 patterns at random. So let's start. First pattern coming down. All right, let's see. Simple Mittens from Tin Can Knits. So we have Simple Mittens, and this is Tin Can Knits. Okay, good. Oh, you know what? I should remove that. Hold on. I wonder. Okay, well, if it comes up again, I'll just not. All right, let's see. Next one. This is, I think it's the Fringing Shawl. It's like making clapping noises. Do you guys hear that? Fringing Shawl by LMB Yarn. Okay, I'm gonna remove this one. Ooh, listen to that. We've got sound effects. Albina from Caitlin Hunter. Okay, remove. Oh. The Della Cowl. I love the applause. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. The Touchstone Shawl. I don't know what the Albina is, so I don't know if that's a sweater, but so far we don't have any sweaters, which is interesting. That's why I feel like we're gonna have to do another one of these, right? Like a follow-up for sure. Onyx Terravinto. Onyx Terravinto. Okay. Remove it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ooh, Hurricane Hat by Andrea Golden. There's that one guy in the audience who's like super into all this. Okay, remove it. Next one. The Antler Toque by Tin Can Knits. Ooh, 2 tin cans. Okay, remove. We have no, I don't think we have any sweaters yet, unless that's what an Albina is. Oh, penny gloves. I think this is a petite knit pattern. I can't really remember. I've seen these before and they're really pretty. I don't know if it's a petite knit pattern or not. Okay. Okay, I wonder if it's a conflict of interest if I do this one because these are my own. But you know what? We're doing it. It's alright. Fire Pit Mitts by yours truly. I feel like... I don't care, I'm doing it anyway. They're great. They're great fingerless mittens, but you know what? Compared to others, I might not rank them as high. Who knows? We'll see. Maybe I should throw in an 11th just to keep it. Molly Mini by Lolita Doobie. Molly Mini. I don't know what Mini is, by Lolita Doobie. How many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I have 11. So I've chosen 11. You guys, I don't think I have any sweaters on here, which is crazy. I'm going to leave this wheel and we're going to come back to this. I have a feeling this is definitely going to be a series of videos. We're going to just keep working from this wheel, almost like a new edition of Ravelry Roulette, because I think this is fun. Okay, so now that I've done that, I need to go and pull the little thumbnail pictures of each of these, add them to my tier ranking chart, and then we're going to go from there. Okay, we're back. I have the patterns. I had to change out one of them. One of them I had in here as Onyx Terravinto, and that is the name of a knitwear designer, but I didn't have any pattern associated with that. And instead of just picking a random one from that designer, I just did another random pull, and it gave me the Love Note by, what is that, is that Tin Can Knits? I can't remember, but there's a lot of Tin Can Knits on here. She's kind of winning the day. Okay, so what we're going to do now is look at some of these patterns. I have them saved on Ravelry in a bundle. So I'm going to go to my Ravelry bundle for this. Let's see if I can pull that up right now. And it is going to be, and I'm going to link to this Ravelry bundle down below the description box, in the description box as viewer faves. All right, so here we are. These are the viewer faves. Now, they're all right here, and I have not dug into any of these really, other than what I've done in the past. Okay, but for right now, I just now got all of these put into this bundle and we are ready to rank. And then let me show you what the ranking system looks like. These are all the patterns down here. And we are going to rank them on each of these tiers. So you have S tier, which is, like I said, this is your high tier, your highest tier, A tier, down below, B, C, and then D. The S tier is 23 to 25 points, A tier 19 to 22 points, and then so on and down the line. I've got a calculator. You can trust me. It's all scientific. Okay, so we're going to just take these and move them around onto the ranking thing here. In the future, if we do this video again, because I'm really kind of loving this, I'll probably do more than 10. But for today, since this is the launch of this potential series here, I'm just going to do 10. We're going to keep it simple. Okay. You never know. All right. So let's go ahead and get into this. We're going to just go right down the list, and we are starting with the world's simplest mittens by Tin Can Knits. This is a pattern I have had the pleasure to knit before. So I guess you could say I'm a little biased here, but not really, because this is me ranking all of this based on my impressions, right? So it doesn't even matter. This is a pattern that you can knit for literally anybody of any size. I'm sure there's somebody out there that maybe wouldn't fit a pair of these mittens, but it's so customizable and you can use lots of different weights of yarn. It's really an amazing pattern. I'm going into this just knowing up front that I really love this pattern. It's, yeah, they're just simple mittens. Now, the one that was given to me on the paper said simple mittens, and I'm assuming they meant the simplest mittens, and they're just fantastic. Again, you can use whatever weight of yarn you want, whatever works, and you can knit them for little babies like this, or you can knit them for full-grown adults like this person here. Yeah, they're really marvelous. I love them. Let's talk about the criteria, okay? We got to really start doing some math here. So for repeatability, can you knit these over and over again? You guys, I'm giving it a 5 because they are so quick to knit and satisfying to knit. For me, it is definitely something I could personally repeat over and over again. And again, it says a ride or die pattern gets repeated, it's addictive, and it has longevity. This pattern is never going to go out of style. These are just very basic mittens. Yeah, this is fantastic. And you can knit it for everybody in the world. Okay, great charity knit as well, by the way. So I love this. World's Simplest Mittens for repeatability gets 5 points. Okay, now for wearability, is it something people actually wear or use in real life? Function, matters, comfort, fit, versatility. Yeah, 5, because it's absolutely wearable. Hold on, 5 for the other one, 5 for this one. That's 10. It's very wearable, very functional. I love it. So I'm giving it 5 for that. I feel like it's very easy for us to see that. Now we're diving into the pattern page quality. This is a big one for me. You guys know this about me. I really like a good pattern page. I'm getting all the basic information right up here. I'm getting some really good suggested yarn ranges here. It's not just one type. We have 4 options here. It's giving me that it's for any gauge. I know right off the bat that I'm kind of flexible in terms of the yarn. A big range of needle sizes is shown right here in the pattern page to reflect that you can work to any gauge. It tells me all the sizes like it should. Let's see. It's only available in English right now. I guess that is a drawback for those of us that want to do this in a different language. It is a real basic pattern though, so I have to think it would be probably something pretty easy to translate using something like, I don't know, Google Translate or ChatGPT, something like that. It's free, by the way. Okay, so it's free. I mean, that's huge. It's free. I didn't add that to the criteria because I'm just not going to do that. But it is kind of, a bonus for those of y'all out there that need a quick free pattern. Okay, so we have an email, newsletter link right here. That's great. Very professional. I like the lines, the divisions right here, giving this a very professional look, guiding you down the page. And then of course you have all the basic pattern info. They're including the sizes here, which is really important. They don't have to do that, but they're doing that. And I love it. A lot of the best pattern pages, I'm going to say this here, and I probably won't repeat myself, but I'll be using this in my considerations. A lot of the best pattern pages take all of that information from like page 2 of the knitting pattern and they plop it right in here. So you get all of that information right here in the pattern page. You don't have to have the pattern to figure out all of this valuable information. And I think that makes for a great pattern page. Yeah, I'm giving this a 5. Tin Can Knits knows what's up. So their pattern pages are all very professional. So we have another 5 going here. That takes us to 15 points. Now we're going to design intelligence. It's a mitten. It's got a thumb and it's got a spot for 4 fingers. It's got a nice long cuff. Now, of course, that is completely customizable, but the fact that the pattern starts with a long cuff means they were thinking about the functionality of the mitten. You can wear it long to go up over sleeves or underneath jacket sleeves, especially for little ones. You can fold it down if you don't want it to be so long. That's one of the things I love about this design over other mitten designs. Now, when I knit this, I knit the cuff short for Angus. I knit them for his small little hands. But if I were to knit this for myself, I would knit with a long cuff. And then even for Angus or Ronan, either going forward, I would knit the long cuff as well because it's nice to have it fit up under the sleeves. There's not a lot else here, when it comes to construction to really, criticize. It's very simple, like the thumb gusset here. It's a very simple increase, like raglan increase situation going on. You've got your basic decreases going on here. This looks like we're doing almost kind of like a rounded toe decrease, and I can't remember for the life of me, but you know what? The pattern's free, so you can all go figure that out pretty easily, but it's a nice clean decrease to narrow it down. It is a little pointy, and some people don't love that. Some people like a more squared off mitten at the top. I kind of prefer it to be a little pointy because our hands are pointy, okay? They're not squared, so I like that. I'm gonna go ahead and give this one a 5. For its design intelligence. Aesthetic impact. This picture here has a big impact because when you look at this, it just screams basic mitten looks easy. And for what it's supposed to be, the world's simplest mitten, who could ask for more than that? It's giving you exactly what you want there. The only thing, I'm going to take a point off for this, and it's not a big deal. It's just me being picky because that color is such a big deal for me. The colors that are chosen here are all warm, and the background that's being chosen here is warm. So we have warm wood with all warm colors. The only thing that's cool in this picture in temperature of color is maybe this one purple right here has a little bit more blue in it. For a real good visual impact, especially when you're displaying a range of colors, you need to mix it up. There needs to be some cool tones, like a blue or a green in here, okay, to provide a range of colors, and that really makes it pop. Or if we're going to be using all of these warm colors, the background needs to be a cooler tone or something more neutral. A really great place to go to see how colors come together in pictures to really pop, like to have everything pop and come together in a way that's visually appealing is Summer Lee. Her socks and everything that she does and the way she does her pictures, she is a master of pulling colors together like that in photographs, and I love it. So that's the only reason I'm going to take off a point here, is I feel it doesn't have the impact. It's a little too warm for me. But other than that, the actual item itself is very aesthetically pleasing, and I love that. So I'm going to go ahead and give this 4. So this takes us to 24 for the world's simplest mittens, which is going to be S tier because it's 24, and that's great. All right, the next one is the self-fringing shawl. We're opening this in a new tab by Amber Lee Frost for L&B Yarn Company. What is L&B Yarn Company? Huh, Okay. Self-fringing shawl. All right. Let's go ahead now. I've never seen this before. Let's just look at a picture here. I love the yarn. It's nice and marled and beautiful. Self-fringing. It is a free Ravelry download. So I'm going to be getting here to pattern page quality in just a moment. There's very little going on here. The only thing I'm getting is that a make one in this equals knitting through the front and the back. That's the only additional information that this pattern is giving me. But again, it's free. You can't complain a whole lot. However, I think there's something to be said for not requiring your potential customer to have to download something before they can determine if they want to download it, right? I mean, I know that's very nitpicky, but throw some of that second page info right here so that they can really just know that this is going to be the right pattern for them. Because I'm kind of already noticing this, I'm going to go ahead and give this a score of 2 in terms of pattern page quality. There's not enough here. Yes, I know it's free, and that's fantastic. But take the time. I mean, if this is something, this is a business potentially. So, and if it is, and you're offering some of your work, even if it's free, take the time to put some of that information right here on Ravelry so people don't have to download documents, decide it's for them, and then delete the document if it's not for them. Just a nitpick. So I'm just going to go ahead and we're going to get to number 3 right now, pattern page quality. I'm going to give that 3 points. But let's go back to repeatability. I can only speak to this particular criteria if I've not knit this before from just looking at this, if this is something I would repeat in terms of wanting more than one as a go-to gift option. And this one screams repeatability. I mean, yeah, it's a larger project, so it's going to take more time, but we're working with a bulky weight yarn here, so it's not going to take that much more time. And it has this real classic look about it. And if it's fringing all by itself, then that makes it even more repeatable. If I had to add those fringes separately, probably not as repeatable. So in terms of repeatability here, I'm giving this one a 4 because based on what I'm seeing, the fact that it is a bulky weight yarn and the fact that it fringes on its own, yeah, definitely a repeatable pattern. So we're going to go ahead and give that one 4 for repeatability. Loving that. The next one is wearability, practical use. You guys, it's a fringe shawl with all stockinette stitch. It's probably the most wearable kind of wintry shawl you can have. I mean, you throw this over anything. It's great for masculine, for feminine. It doesn't matter. It's just a really cool, very wearable staple piece. And the only thing that's going to make it more or less wearable really, or that might impact its wearability is the color that you choose. But again, it could be I don't know, like a statement piece. So for wearability, I'm going to give this one 4. We're doing good so far. Okay, then we're going to go to design intelligence. Now, I'm going to give this one I can't read anything here that tells me, unless I open up the download, which that's not what we're doing today. That's not how Ravelry Roulette works. That's not how this works. But there is an intelligence to this because it's self-fringing, and I think that's fabulous. And look at this nice clean edge with the fringe. I think that's so cool. So we have some, intelligence going on here. I'm not talking about the designer. I'm just talking about the way that the pattern comes together. It's thoughtful. These are thoughtful details, and it has a really good impact. I really love that. So for design intelligence, I'm giving it 5 because yeah, it's intelligent. It's self-fringing. It's doing it by itself. Aesthetic impact here. I love this photo. I love the photo. I love that they chose to use what could be considered a neutral yarn, but has some color there because it's showing you that this can be a fun statement piece, but it doesn't have to be. It can be neutral. The way that it's styled around this mannequin is fantastic. If I had to do anything different here to give this more of an impact, it would be to pull out a little bit and let there be some more space around the subject to let it breathe a little bit. It's so confined by this real narrow aspect ratio of the photograph that you're just kind of not able to see it within any context. And being able to get an idea of the style of something within a context is important. The only context I have here is that like wooden, distressed wooden background. And I feel like I would love to see this in a wider context. That's the only aesthetic complaint I have. And that's really kind of a side, like a compliment, because I want to see this. I want to see this breathe a little bit more. So for that reason, I'm going to give this a 4. So this puts this at a 20 pointer, and 20 points takes us to A tier. So we're popping this guy an A tier. And yeah, absolutely. That's where I would put that. I think that's great. Self-Fringing Shawl. And the Self-Fringing Shawl is by Amberly Frost, A tier design. Okay, let's go to the next. What do we have next? Just making sure I'm going in order. The Albina by Caitlin Hunter. I need a water break. Take a look at that. There's another Albina by Caitlin Hunter. This is not about that one, but I really love it. I think it's called Winter Albina. But this is the Albina by Caitlin Hunter. Let's see. We're looking at repeatability first. You know, I kind of want to do pattern page quality first. Let's do pattern page quality first from here on out. It just seems to be the best first thing to do. Look, it's Caitlin Hunter. She's a profesh, okay? She knows what she's doing. Her pattern pages are always put together beautifully. She gives you such a big info dump in a good way right here on this first pattern page. It's all here for you, okay? So if you want to knit this pattern, you'll know by looking at the pattern page if it's the right one for you. Not only does she give you some information here about both the yarn, but also the design itself. She gives you, she gives him some backstory, a trip to Italy in mind when she designed this, and then all the details that you need to know if it's going to work for you. And then a note down here that says you should always knit your swatch the same way that the pattern is knit, in this case in the round, and flat block your swatch as you will for your finished garment. Yeah, just some added information that just helps you to make your decision because this is an $8 pattern. So you want to make sure your money is being well spent on something that's going to work for you. For pattern page, guys, she's a 5. Of course she's a 5. It's Caitlin Hunter. Okay, let's go up to repeatability. Let's look through the photos to get an idea if this is a design that would be one you would repeat. Now, I love this. It's a little slouchy for my taste, considering that knitwear grows. It looks like she's in, that almost looks like Homer. I think she lives up in that area. Now, when I look at it though, it's supposed to be kind of summery. It's supposed to be something you wear in the like warmer weather, right? It's lightweight. It's really beautiful. It's supposed to have a slouch to it. That's what's going to make it wearable, like really wearable at those climbs, okay? Because it has a little bit of that slouch. That's really beautifully constructed. Wow, this picture does it justice, I'm telling you. Like I could have a few of these in my wardrobe in various different colors. Now, would I ever knit that many? I don't know. I mean, it's what's the weight of the yarn here? Because that's going to have a lot to do with it. Okay, it's a DK weight. DK weights are, you know, they take longer to knit. They're harder to repeat. It's a garment. Garments are inherently more difficult to repeat for some knitters because they're just big. And then also, especially too, depending on what size you're knitting, that's really going to have a lot to do with how repeatable something is, okay? If you're knitting for a child or for somebody who's very small, that's going to be much more repeatable because it doesn't have as much time invested into it than, you know, something that's much larger. But looking at this in terms of would I want it repeated in my wardrobe? Sure, I think it's beautiful. It's a classic shape for a spring summer sweater. Look at that. And not only that, like just the wearability and the practical use of this is like that throw-on sweater. You don't have to think about it. You just know it's going to go with anything that you're wearing. I mean, she's wearing it here with this ruffled skirt. She's wearing it here with a really cute pair of wide leg jeans. Hello. Yeah, it's fantastic. I love it here. That's awesome. Okay, so we're going to go ahead for repeatability. We're going to give it a 4. Only because it's, you know, it's a DK weight. It's a sweater. I'm giving it a 4. I probably should give it a 3.5. The style, I would totally have more than 1, but you have to knit this, and that's part of this. Okay, so we're at a 9 so far. Now, design intelligence, it says here, Albina is a simple classic summer sweater knit from the bottom up. The body is worked in the round, then the fronts and the backs are split for the sleeves and worked flat. The shoulders are then joined, and sleeves are picked up and worked in the round. Finally, the collar stitches are picked up and worked. This is just a very, not basic, but this is a very classic way of knitting a sweater, okay? This isn't anything new, right? This is just very classic, very, very solid, okay? This is a solid way to knit a sweater. It works. It lends some nice structure because you are knitting it in the round, but there is something to the knitting it from the bottom up and then adding the different portions and kind of working, contiguously in a way. So yeah, I guess for how intelligent this is, it's tried, it's true, and it works, and it creates a solid garment. So it's a 5. I'm not biased to Caitlin Hunter, you guys. I know she knows what she's doing. Y'all, I know y'all agree. Okay, aesthetic impact. I'm going to take you to one photo and then need I say more? Just let me make sure I'm choosing the right photo. Hold on. Come on. That's adorable. Because what it tells me is that it hangs beautifully. The sweater hangs beautifully. Now, is it going to hang beautifully on all bodies? Probably not. Not everybody is going to find that this hangs beautifully on them. But for me, if I'm ranking this and looking at Caitlin here, we have a similar size. She's taller than I am, I can tell, but it hangs in a nice way. I love the drop shoulder. The fact that I can see that she's wearing it with something, relatively unconventional when it comes to pairing it with a sweater. Fantastic impact here. The photo is supposed to look candid. It's supposed to look like she's taking a photo inside of her home. So you're not getting like a lot of drama and you're not getting a lot of that context. But if I want context, I can get context. And she adds it here. She's out in the wild. She's got a shoulder bag on. She's wearing it in a way that's very functional. I love it. For aesthetic impact, it's getting a 5 for me. Why do I keep... Okay, I can use a calculator. All right, so we're at 19 right now. And then which one did I miss? Repeatability, wearability, practical use. Now, this is something that can't be overstated here. Is that the right phrase? This is incredibly wearable and practical. It's a 5 for me, guys, because you can throw this on and wear it with anything. It's practical. I honestly don't think even if you got crazy with your yarn color, it would still be wearable and practical because the shape itself is so minimal. And I love that. So we're at a 24. We're at a 24. That's putting Caitlin Hunter's Albina all the way up in S tier. And I love it. All right, let's go to the next one. Okay, the next one is called the Della Cowl. And this is by Holly Terrell. Now, this one, I can see why somebody would put this as their go-to because I can imagine not only is it a really cool looking design, it looks very diverting and very engaging in its texture, but it's also an Aran weight yarn that's going to knit a cowl. It's going to knit up really quickly. Let's go ahead and take a look at the pattern page and see what we've got here. Okay, so we've got our photos. These are not all photos from the designer. In fact, I think only one of them is the designer's photo, and it's this one. I would love to see at least 3 photos from the designer that shows an up close, a context, and then maybe just a standard image to show it all, okay? To give you maybe an idea of dimension. I'm only getting one here, so I'm relying on other people to submit their photos, and that's going to change things. Okay, so it's not necessarily going to give you the view and the impact that the designer's after. So, I think it's important that the designer include a few more photos in there. However, again, we're dealing with a free Ravelry download. That's great. Sometimes though, when a pattern is uploaded and given for free, it kind of causes the designer to feel like they don't need to put as much on the pattern page. Now that's up to whoever you can have your own opinion on that. We know my opinion on that. I think there should be more information here so I don't have to download this. I've said it all before. Just enough warmth to tuck in a coat, easier to manage than a full scarf. This cowl with lacy ribbing is perfect for fall. I'm given the size needle, the yardage, I'm given the gauge and what size yarn. I'm given one option here for yarn to use, and that's okay. I don't think you have to give a ton of options. I think we need to know going into this that you can use whichever yarn you want if it's giving you the gauge that you need, okay? So for the pattern page, I'm giving this a 3. Real minimal, not a lot of information here. You kind of are going to want to download this to really get into the weeds with the pattern to make sure it's for you. But again, it's free. We can't really complain all that much. Now let's look at repeatability. It's a cowl with Aran weight yarn and a super engaging stitch pattern. I could knit a ton of these, and I think that's great. Perfect for gifts, perfect for yourself if you want a couple different colors, great for charity, and it probably, it's using only 100 yards of yarn. Come on, this is great for stash busting, so super repeatable, an easy 5 in my opinion. Wearability. Now, depending on the color, that's going to determine whether or not it's going to be wearable with all kinds of things. This red one, 100%. Like, gorgeous. I like that there is some variegation going on in there in the tonality of the color, but I love the pop of red. You could really wear this, especially this red, with anything. And then you have the really engaging stitch definite. It just draws the eye. Now, with something like this, you're losing the stitch pattern with a yarn like this, okay? And this also is going to make it less wearable because it's so busy. So it really just depends in my opinion, it's really just dependent on the yarn. You do have this kind of like the edging going on here, giving it a little bit of a whimsical flair, which can take away from the wearability a little bit. So you want to make sure that you let that be the star of the show, plus the texture here, and not try to make it too busy with color. So overall, generally speaking, I'm going to give this one a 4 for wearability, but that's also just dependent on those other things that I mentioned. Okay. The next one is design intelligence. I love intelligence. I wish I should have put one down there for uniqueness, but I prefer the intelligence part of it, because when I look for designs to knit, I'm not really looking for things to be like quirky or unique. I like things that look like they know what they're doing and they're not trying to come to the show with like all these different newfangled things. This keeps it kind of tight. We have the little chevron edge going on here, which is nice. I like that. And it's paired with a lot going on up here. So we have a lot going on, which if not, I mean, I think it's fun. It's going to be fun to knit. Now, is it thoughtful in terms of how it like contributes to wearability? I don't know. I think the person who designed this was just having a great time and didn't really give two what's about whether that was the case or not. And I think that they did a really good job adding a lot of fun stuff that's going to make this interesting for the knitter without taking it too far. I really think it's doing everything it needs to do. Like, look at this photo. It's doing everything it needs to do, and it's doing it well. And that takes intelligence and restraint. It's like coming right to the line without going over it. So I'm going to give it a 4 for that. I think it's great. So right now we are at 16 points, and we're going to go to aesthetic impact. This is probably where I'm going to take some points away, only because the only picture I have for any aesthetic impact is this one, and it doesn't give me any context. Like, unless I'm really looking at this, I don't necessarily know what this is. And I feel like it needs more context, a couple other photos in here to really add to the impact. I like the color here. It's a nice, cool tone on a nice, warm background. So that's a smart choice. But I think there needs to be more here. And the designer is really getting help from people submitting their own photos. But those photos don't really give me a lot of aesthetic impact because they're not cohesive. Okay, so for aesthetic impact, I'm going to give this one 3, and I feel like I'm being generous. And that's going to take us to 19. So this is going to sit in A tier. I'm wondering if I need to be more critical, you guys. I don't think so. I just think that we all have good taste. Okay, I know it seems kind of weird. Everything just changed visually. That's because hours have passed. A really good friend of mine came over and we do this thing. We started doing this thing every Friday. We call it Fun Friday, and we get together and we do creative artsy things. And today we painted. So I had to stop earlier so I could do that. And now I'm back and I want to finish up this video. So we are tier ranking. You guys already know hours have not passed for you. Okay. The last one that we have ranked at this point is what is this? The Della Cowl. We were on the Della Cowl and we ranked that one. I don't need to review for you. Let's move on to the next. And here we are. And it looks like the next in this list is the Touchstone Shawl. Let's take a look. Okay, the Touchstone Shawl by Laura Aylor from Fogbound Knits. All right, we're going to start by looking at the Ravelry pattern page and see how this goes. So pattern page quality. Looking down, we have all the basic information that we have here with lots of yarn options, the yardage requirements, only one size available here. It is available in English and Slovak. It is a free Ravelry download, but despite the fact that this is a free Ravelry download, there is lots of additional information here. Now, this isn't second page pattern information. You don't have all of the sizes and all of the measurements, but again, it's a single size, so you don't require that as much because, it's one size, right? There's not options for other sizes. I feel like the fact that we have additional information here, even considering that it's a free pattern, I appreciate that. So sometimes you need to just wind up that recent yarn purchase and knit for the pure joy of it to remember why you knit. Absolutely. The combination of simple stitch pattern, the eyelet pattern from Therapy, and garter stitch in this shawl make it ideal for highly variegated yarns, but it will be equally beautiful in any solid color you love. Absolutely. Easily memorizable. So it's giving me lots of information here about not only the pattern, also the yarn here, talking about the fact that it's DK weight yarn, but you can use a lighter weight yarn to get a smaller shawl, and you can also use a heavier weight yarn to get a larger shawl. And I think that's great. It tells you here what skills you're going to need to have for this one, increasing, decreasing, and yarn overs. And then there's a pattern chat thread with a link, and I love that. Okay, so I'm going to say, get my calculator back out here, that for the pattern page quality, this is a 5. I love this. It has what I need. It's a free pattern considering this is 5 stars or 5 points. For the pattern page quality, especially because it's linking off to other related things as well as a chat thread. And I love that. So we're already at 5 points there. Let's take a look at the repeatability of this based on just the photos. Look at that. You know, it's a decent sized shawl. It's not too big and it's not too small. And because of the ease of the stitch pattern and the fact that you can, what is it? How much yardage do you need? 560 to 675 yards. So you can pull out two and change skeins of yarn from your stash and whip this up. It's a good stash buster. And I think that's great. That's what makes it repeatable, or that's another element that makes it repeatable. If you know it's a good go-to pattern for busting, little bits of yarns that you have in your stash. And this is good for that. It also is a relatively simple stitch pattern. It's a DK weight, so it's not super heavy. It's not going to knit up super quickly, but that just depends on how fast of a knitter you are. It's not a huge project, so I feel like very repeatable, in my opinion. If you're doing gifts or if you just want one in multiple colors, I'm going to give this a 4 in repeatability. For me, personally, that's probably where I'm going to rank it. It's showing some yarns here that you can use. Yeah. I don't know, maybe even like 3.5. I don't knit shawls. So repeatability is kind of an interesting one for me. I'm not really a big shawl knitter, but when I look at this, I think it's a great go-to for a good shawl. I'm going to drop that down. For me personally, I'm going to drop it down to 3 for me. Yeah, only a 3 for repeatability. I think I need to be more critical. Maybe now that it's afternoon and what is it? The lovely haze of the morning has worn off, maybe I'm going to be more stringent with this. I don't know. We shall see. Okay, let's look at wearability and practical use. I mean, come on. It is very wearable. Absolutely wearable. I really don't think, even if you're using some of these more vibrant colors that you see here, I still think that's fun. I still think it's very wearable and it is very practical. It's going to keep your shoulders warm. But it's not too stifling because it has that nice lace work going on there. Absolutely practical, absolutely wearable. That will, it's an accessory, so it can be a statement piece. So color is really kind of not a big deal here. I love that. I'm going to give it a 4 for wearability. Yeah, I feel like I'm being more critical. Okay, let's go to design intelligence. Sometimes I feel like it takes a good deal, the restraint in a design, I've talked about this, I'm going to be talking about this more, but showing that a design is minimal while also having some elements of design, it shows restraint, and that takes a lot of creative intelligence. And it takes the designer knowing when enough is enough and not to try to go all in and just let it be what it is and nothing more. And I feel like that's what makes this, this design on the, intelligent, because it's giving you interesting detail, but without it being too loud, too over the top. It's subtle. It's going to be fun to knit. It's going to keep things interesting. Visually, it's appealing without being too busy. So I think that takes a lot. You can tell that there's restraint here because you really could have done more. There could have been more and it doesn't need more. Okay, so this is what it is. So in terms of design intelligence, I'm going to give it a 4 because I think that it shows some really good restraint and I like that. The aesthetic impact. This is the first photo that you see. There's a lot of photos here. We get a lot of context. We get a lot of different angles. See, this photo right here, I would have loved this to have been the primary photo for the pattern, because this not only shows it's a photo that's framed nicely, there's context here. She looks like she's meditating. It's being worn over her shoulders. It's kind of a symmetrical look. This has really nice aesthetic impact. It showcases the color and the stitch pattern. This needs to be the main primary photo here, because this is what's letting you know, like, it's showing you what this shawl has to offer. Of course, it doesn't show you the volume of the shawl, but it's giving you the general idea. It's making you want to see more. And then this photo is fantastic. I mean, this could also be the headlining photo, because it gives you the whole, whole shawl here all in one go. And I think that's beautiful. I just feel like this is a very limiting initial photo, but it's just one of many, right? That's definitely a nitpick. For visual or aesthetic impact, I'm going to give this one a 4. I don't know, what could make it more impactful? Maybe the color. I think because it's a very natural, neutral, earthy color, it's not standing out a lot. So maybe if it were a more punchy color, maybe if she had chosen to knit it in like this color here and then place it on this person, I don't know if this is her, but place it in this photograph in that color, it would have stood out more and been more punchy. Yeah, I guess that's why I wouldn't give this a 5. Otherwise, I feel like the photos are nice. That and the fact that I feel like this or this should have been the headline photo. Yeah. So this puts it at a 20. This is sitting comfortably in A tier, this is not the page, which is great. Comfortably in A tier. I feel like once I've done all of the scoring with the calculations and everything, I'm going to want to look at this and then move some things around. I have a feeling that's going to happen. Okay, let's move on to the next, and that is the love note. So we're going back to I didn't open, here it are. Okay, this is the love note. I'm going to open in another tab because that's the way it should be. Here we are, the love note, again, by Tin Can Knits, coming out in a big way in this video. This pattern is incredibly popular. I feel like this one and the ranunculus, I see them equally as often. It's just everywhere, and people seem to know what they're talking about because everybody loves it and people just rave about it. Now, I have, it doesn't really align with my style, I guess. So when I look at this, I don't get really excited about it. It's just not something that is, I don't know. I've seen this photo here. I don't know what it is. It's just, to me, Paul Clark is on in my living room right now, the painter, the watercolor guy, and I can hear it. So I gotta make sure I shut my door. Okay. I don't know if you guys could even have heard that, but okay. I think that by looking at this, okay, pump the brakes. Let's look at the pattern page first, okay? Pattern page, again, it's Tin Can Knits. It's going to be profesh, right? They know what they're doing. So I'm scrolling down. We have the yarn information here. It's fingering and lace held together, which is a DK weight yarn in this case. It gives me the gauge, the needle size, yardage, all of this good stuff. And holy moly, it has a ton of sizes. I mean, you could be wearing this fresh out of the womb all the way up to the size 6 extra large. So that's an incredible size range. Okay, again, we have those really pretty page breaks here. Sweet little sweater, knits up quickly from the top down. Mohair lace, single ply merino. I like that you can sign up for the newsletter here. Gives you the Instagram links. And then all of the pattern information with the sizing and all of the good stuff that you would need. I mean, this is an easy 5 for me when it comes to the pattern page. It's a $9 pattern. So it's giving me that information there. All right. Repeatability. I don't know, for me, if I would even say, first of all, this pattern for me is kind of a non-starter. I'm just not interested enough in it to knit it. So this isn't going to earn any points for me in repeatability. I have a hard time just saying, though, 0 in repeatability because I just don't want to knit it to begin with, because that's not fair. I think that this pattern is for so many people. It's just not for me. However, looking at the pattern and trying to look at it, objectively, this looks to me like a very repeatable pattern because it does look like something that knits up really quickly, and you can have a lot of fun with different colors and textures. Not necessarily in the stitch pattern. I mean more along the lines of like the type of yarn that you're using. And so I can see this being to some people what the Felix pullover is to me. So I would be willing to say that repeatability on this, I'm going to give it a 3. Because I do think that it holds some of that repeatability. It's a little cropped. The sleeves are a little short. It's not a staple silhouette in my opinion, but that's my opinion. Okay. So I'm going to say, and then also the lace yoke is not necessarily a staple texture. So I'm going to give it a 3 for repeatability. It's just not for me. It's just not for me. You would have to have something to wear under it. So, yeah, meaning like you have to think about what you're putting under it, right? Because you can see what's under it. Okay, so that's going to be a 3 for repeatability. So we're at 8 points so far. Wearability and practical use, or wearability / practical use. This is where the wearability is going to take a hit because it has this round neckline that I don't think is appealing all the time. I don't think it works on every body style. I don't think it works on many, to be honest. I think a round circular yoke is limiting in who can wear it and when you can wear it and with what, okay? Please know these are all my own opinions and your mileage may vary. Because it's not only a circular yoke, but it also has a pretty wide open circular neckline, that also creates an issue because you have a lot of your neck showing and then you also have I've never really been a fan of really open circular necklines and then circular yokes. To me, I don't think it's flattering. I would love it more if it had a nice high and tight crew neck and then maybe less stockinette before you get to the lace section. But that's just me, okay? But however, that is going to contribute to the wearability of this item. I wouldn't want to wear it very much because of that. I don't love the shape. It has that lace running right across the chest, so you really have to be conscious about what you're wearing underneath this. You can't just, you can do whatever you want, right? But it is going to determine like what you're wearing this with, what you're putting under it. And that kind of thing always makes me have to like think about it a little longer, make sure I have something coordinating in my wardrobe. It's just a whole thing. For wearability for this, for me, and I'm even going to just go out on a limb and say kind of for anybody, because of the thought you have to put into what you're going to wear this with, I'm going to say 3. You just have to think about it. You really do. Unless you want to just go just wear whatever you want under there and like, you live your life, that's great. But I would have to put some thought into that. The length of the sleeve and compared to the length of the sweater, I don't know. It doesn't go with everything. It's hard. Like, I don't know if I would want to wear this with a pair of jeans. They would have to be high-waisted. It looks cute over this dress, right? Or a dress like this. It's just not going to go with everything. You'll notice it's limiting when the people in, like, okay, here, she's wearing it with a pair of jeans, but she has to have this shirt on underneath it because, well, she doesn't have to, but she's obviously preferring it. Same right here. So it's either you're wearing it with a pair of high-waisted jeans and something tucked into those jeans underneath, or you're wearing it over a dress. You're not going to see much else going on here. You're not going to see like a really cute casual just throw it on, because you can't just throw it on, okay? And if you can't just throw it on, it takes away some of that wearability. So yeah, solid 3. Okay, let's go down to design intelligence. I don't know if I feel like this has any particular, anything that shows me that it's very I know the designer thought through this, obviously, because they designed it and they put thought into it. That's not what I mean. But okay, a couple of things. The length of the actual sweater itself is quite cropped, and the length of the sleeves are cropped. I think you should choose one, or I think there's not enough of a space right here to make that work for me. The sleeves should be full length, in my opinion. They should go down to here. They just should. Because what it looks like is it looks like she's wearing her daughter's sweater and she didn't realize. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. It's not this. It's very cute. It's very charming. But like, if I bring that to your attention, then now you can't not see it. Okay. I'm just being honest. So I feel like that is a construction thing here that's lacking in that like thoughtfulness, or maybe it's just like a miss, in my opinion. I don't know, but I'm gonna take it off for that. And then also to just that round neckline. I don't know. I don't look at this and think, wow, that was like it. They thought of everything. It just works. I just don't think this pattern is for me. So I'm going to say design intelligence is going to get a 2.5. I'm sorry. I'm being very critical of this one. I don't know why. Maybe it's because what time is it now? My kids are going to be coming home soon. 2:13. Listen. It's going to be a zoo here in like 25 minutes. Let's go to aesthetic impact. Okay? The main picture that I see for this design is this one here. This is the main picture that I see. So it's always like when I think of the love note, I think of this photo of these 3 women and that's it. Okay. All those things in mind. Let's talk about this. We have 3 lovely women and we have 3 sweaters. I can see how limiting this design is immediately from this photo because I'm seeing a dress and then 2 semi-high-waisted pairs of jeans and some shirt that's like, I don't know, looks like probably the person would prefer not to have had to wear a shirt tucked into their jeans underneath the sweater, but they had to because of the whatever. That is like, to me, is one of these things that when I see this photo, I'm like, that sweater's not for me. So the aesthetic impact in terms of like the design itself and how it's presented isn't great. Now, if this had been the main photo that you see when you're scrolling through Ravelry, or this one, I mean, not only because it's a very well-known person in the indie dyed world, but also just the way that it's being worn, the downward angle, the gorgeous color. She knows what she's doing with color, so she knew that this was going to look great. This really nice, I don't know, chestnut color with the black skirt and then this neutral. I just think everything works really lovely in this. It's just the photography, it's beautiful. So this could have been the picture. This one, I mean, even this one, I mean, this one could work too. It would have so much more impact and be so much more widely appealing, in my opinion, and wouldn't reveal the limitations of the design quite as quickly as this one does. Okay. And also too, you're not seeing enough space below the sweater to really understand quite how cropped the sweater is. There's not enough context with the people here. And I think you need to have that at least as your main photo so people can really get a good idea of it. I love how happy these women look, and I love that you can tell that they're happy. And that's nice. But we have this like odd, I don't know, this is like a tunnel back here. I just would have liked to see a better photo composition. This is a gorgeous photo right here. She looks fantastic in the sweater in this photo with this outfit. The sleeve length is off a little bit. Either like make it up here or bring it full length. Okay. I like this photo. So when it comes to the design or the aesthetic impact, this photo being the first one that you see, in my opinion, is a miss. It's one that I would just scroll right by. This one, on the other hand, not so much. This one's cute. You would take a minute to check it out. Okay, so aesthetic impact, I'm going to give it a 3. Okay, we are at 16.5. That's going to take this one to B tier. That's good. That's higher than I probably would have put it if I were just doing this quickly. We can chat more about that in a minute. Okay, the next pattern on this list, is it not in here? Oh wait, yes it is. It's the hurricane hat. Okay, so the next pattern is the hurricane hat by Andrea Golden. This is, let's see, an Aran weight hat. Let's look at the pattern page. It is a free pattern, but look. All of this information, it's free. Yes, you could very easily just download the pattern, but she's giving you information here so that you can get some of that information up front, which I really appreciate. And it's including the fact that it's available in Hungarian. It's including, oh, cool. It links off to somebody else's version of this hat for something a little different with a bigger size and letting you know that she has good notes. And then it's also letting you know that they changed the pattern location. I don't know what that means, but that's okay. That's information. And then the translation, thanks to the person who helped her translate. And then you can get more information at her blog. So it's good to have some additional information, even considering that the pattern is free. So it is a free pattern. This is a hat. Here's a cowl. Here's the hat on a baby. And then this is the photo okay, so we're going to get to this with the aesthetic impact thing, but this right here is not enough for a main photo. Okay, we'll get to that. This is not her photo though, because it doesn't have her name. I don't see, oh, this is the main. This is the designer's photos here. It's important when you're putting a pattern page together to make sure that your intended photography is the first that you see, especially if you're trying to, convey something, right? And so we'll get to that. But as for the pattern page quality, I'm going to give this a 4. Pattern page quality is good. Okay, let's go to the repeatability and wearability. Listen, it's a hat. I feel like hats, just by their nature, are repeatable. Of course, if you're talking about like a lace weight or a fingering weight lace hat, maybe something different. But this looks like it's a very simple hat to knit. It's not super big. It's close to the head right here. It depends on the size. Let's look down here. Here it is again. Pretty basic, cool spiraling construction. It's a nice heavyweight yarn, so it's going to be quicker. Aran weight yarn. It's a quick knitting hat. It only uses anywhere from 100 to 140 yards, so it's a small hat. So repeatability, I mean, look, it's good. It's fast. It's a very repeatable hat. If you like it, it's going to be one that you want to go to. So we're going to give that a 5. Okay, we're at 9 so far. Wearability and practical use. Guys, it's a hat. 5. We don't need to belabor that one because it looks very practical. Let's get down to design intelligence. Note, the make one after the ribbing section enables your knitting to move forward into a spiral as you work the pattern. Without the make one, you'll get a very widely ribbed hat. If that happens to you, it is probably because you've missed the make one. That requires thought to know that this is going to happen if you don't add the increases. And so I think that adds to that. That's a point in that box of pattern intelligence. This is a pretty simple design, It's just a basic rounded hat with a ribbed brim. There's not a whole lot to say about that. And that's not a dig at all. That just means it is what it is. So for pattern intelligence, I'm going to give it a 4. I'm going to give it a 3.5. Because it's not doing anything spectacular, but it is taking some things into account. So that the design is preserved. All right, 3.5. I do feel like I'm being more critical. Okay, now let's go to that last one, which is aesthetic impact. Again, if you're putting a pattern on Ravelry and you really are concerned with how it's perceived initially through the scroll, you want to make sure that the best picture is here, because that's going to be the one that you see. I believe that's the one that you see. Let me look. If I type in hurricane hat, I spelled that wrong. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that is the one that you see, which it's not giving you enough. That could be a lot of different things right there. You need to have a better picture here. If I look through, a lot of these are pictures of people who have made the hat. This is the one I settled on for like the ranking tier thing that we're using, because it just gives me the most context, right? This is just showing me the back of a person's head with her arm up here, and then we get a close-up here, which is important to have a close-up. But we need, zoom out more. Let's get some more angles. I like the baby one, but that's not the designer's photo. So yeah, I don't know. I think for aesthetic impact, I'm going to give this one a 2.5. Yeah. 17 plus 2.5. We're at 19.5 right now. Yeah, so that's where I'm going to put it there. I think it could use something. Now, again, I'm doing this. I'm being critical for the sake of the video. This is not like, hey, Andrea, go get it together. No, she's doing fine. This is just me, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it honestly. And these are things that you should consider. But it's a really adorable hat, and it's free, guys. Okay, so we're going to put this. This is 19 points. This is B tier. Another B tier. Yeah, sure. B tier. Okay, next... Let's go back to, because I didn't open in a new tab. Oh, okay, good. Here we are. The Antler Toque by, you guessed it, Tin Can Knits. We're back. This is one I have seen So I've seen this all over. It's just always one that pops up in my feed because I love hats. And I think it's beautiful. Let's go ahead and take a look. I honestly, do we need to keep doing this? She provides everything here, and this is a free pattern, guys. So yeah, quick 5. Tin Can Knits gets kind of by default a 5 for pattern page quality. It's always great. Okay, let's look at repeatability. This is a worsted weight hat. You're getting 18 stitches per 4 inches. You're using a size 8 needle for the main body of the hat, and it is only using 200 yards. You are going to be doing some cables here, and that can determine whether somebody's going to want to knit this again. I'm not a huge fan of cables. However, it's a hat. It's not a lot. You're not, it's not going to be a huge time investment here, especially because it's a worsted weight hat. For me, I look at this hat and how adorable it is, and I think, yes, this is something that I would knit more than one of because I really love the look of this hat. I really do. I would probably knit the body longer. This is a nitpick and is not going to determine that. I don't know. I would make it a little bit more slut. That's just adorable. Okay, we're going to come back to that. Okay, for repeatability, I'm going to give this one a 3.5. 3.5 for repeatability. Let's go to wearability and practical use, and we're going to go ahead and just give that a 4. It has cables. I don't think it makes it not wearable, but it definitely means that it's going to be one you wear when it's really chilly. So it's not going to be as wearable for as long. So I'm going to say, what did I say? Let's make it a 4 for wearability. So that's 8.5 plus 4, 12.5. Design intelligence. It's a beautiful hat. It looks like it is designed to do exactly what it's doing. We even have a little delicate slouch on the man's hat right here. The cables are placed beautifully. It looks very I don't know, it's just right. Okay. So when it comes to design intelligence, I can't say, oh yeah, look at this gorgeous like star shape up here. That's intentional. Okay. The designer knew what they were doing when they did that. It gives them like little leaves. They look like little leaves. Yeah, 5 points for design intelligence. 17.5 points so far. Yeah, well earned. I think it's beautiful. Okay, this is the last one, right? Yeah. Aesthetic impact. You want to know how to showcase a hat with a little bit of context, not too much context. Maybe you want to crop in close because you really want to focus on the details of the hat, but you don't want to have it be too close. And you want to make sure those colors know what they're doing and that the hat is going to pop. Let's just look no further than this photo here. It's beautiful. This gorgeous mustardy, olivey, yellowy, greeny situation going on right here is gorgeous, paired with a complementary kind of blue going down here. This is a little bit of a greenish tinged navy tartan scarf. Beautiful with her milky, creamy skin tone and auburn hair, plus this gray water in the back. Like, here you go. This is how it's done. The composition of the photo is lovely as well. And then let's just go down here for some more impact. The combination of colors. We have this rich pine, kind of blue pine green, this really lovely, it's not cornflower, it's more just like a, I don't know, colonial blue color. And then we have this rusty color, and it's all beautiful, a nice earthy tone here with that tartan over here. And then you even get the like warmth of the little seaweeds in the water. Gorgeous. I love the photo composition's nice here too. Again, hello. It doesn't get much better than that. And then you get some photos down here with some beautiful colors. Yeah. Aesthetic impact gets a 5 for me. Oh, an absolute 5 for me. This picture, you could frame that and put it on your wall. It's gorgeous. That's 5 points. 22.5. Yes. Solid. This puts this by the skin of its teeth, which I almost feel like I need to give it another point because it shouldn't be by the skin of its teeth. But this puts it into the S tier. Absolutely well deserved. I believe that's where it belongs. Love it. Love that. Okay. Next one, moving back, what was the next one in my list here? The penny gloves. The penny gloves by Petite Knit. These are adorable. I love these because I love this style of fingerless mitt. It's no surprise. These are very similar to the fire pit mitts that I have, which are a worsted weight. This is a sport weight design. Now, I've never knit this, so I don't know the construction. I'm sure there's differences. It's not exactly the same. But it's a lighter weight kind of version of that style of fingerless mitt. And I love a classic rectangular, all stockinette stitch fingerless mitt. I do. And I think if you love that style and you want it in a nice lightweight, something like this, obviously, then look at that. Pattern page quality. Petite Knits is profesh, guys. We're going to keep saying it. She's a professional. She knows what she's doing. Her pattern pages have the information that you need so that you don't need to worry about not knowing what you're getting yourself into. You're going to know what you're getting yourself into for the most part. Here she has not only, look at difficulty rating and then a classification for the difficulty rating here as well. And then she gives you information. She even tells you what color or what yarn she's using for the various colors. I always have found that her pattern pages give you all that useful information before you make the investment. I'm not sure, 35 Danish kroner, I want to say that's $6 US, but her prices are reasonable. And then she also has a website. Okay, you can link off to the website. We're going to give it, I'm going to give her 4.5 for pattern page quality. Let's go up to repeatability and just let's get this one out of the way real quick. It's a sport weight yarn. Yeah, it's a lighter weight yarn, but guys, these are small. This is super repeatable because you can knit them for family members as gifts to have like multiple pairs of your own. Super repeatable, 4.5. I mean, can you blame me for just getting right through that one? I just think that they're just by their nature repeatable. Well, like literally you have to knit more than one because they're mittens. Okay. Wearability and practical use. That's what they are. It is designed to be wearable and practical. 5. They're fingerless mitts. They're fantastic. I guess some people would say it's not practical because the fingers are sticking out and the fingers can get cold. I'm going to take off 0.5 point because it's the afternoon and apparently I'm more critical in the afternoon. 0.5 point because, okay, the fingers are exposed. I know there's some of you out there that are thinking that. We'll take off 0.5 point. Design intelligence. Again, like I said, to keep something minimal, to keep it in its lane so that it's doing only what it came to do and nothing more. It's not trying to be too loud. It's staying in its lane with no extra, frou-frou. That requires, creative intelligence and restraint. And so I'm just going to score it higher because it has that. But now again, she is known for that. Petite Knit, all of her patterns are very minimal and show lots of restraint. And so, I'm not surprised. So I'm going to give this for pattern or design intelligence. I'm going to give it a 4-pointer for that because, wait, what was that? 13.5 plus 4. Okay. I think that's fair. Let's go to aesthetic impact. Now, Petite Knit designs are beautiful. They just fall right in line with my personal preferences and style and all of this. But sometimes her photographs just don't hit. They don't have the impact that I would like them. Some of them do, but sometimes the ones that you land on first don't. For example, here, the mittens here are lost. Can you imagine how gorgeous this photo would be if those were a really amazing pine green color, like a rich pine green, or even like a tomato red, or just any other color that wasn't so neutral and didn't blend in so much with some of these lighter colored stones? It would pop and you would just be all over that design. Even something in a gold mustard color would pop way more than this is popping here. And so I feel like this is a miss. Now this one, I love this. I love the neutral gray right here along the gray of the street because we have this yellow line and the yellow bus over here that punches. So it has a very metropolitan look to it. And that's the vibe it's going for. And I feel like it's doing it. And I think that's great. This should be the headlining photo, in my opinion. This one, yeah, this is one of hers. I don't know. I don't love this as much. This one provides a really nice context. It tells a really interesting story. She's got a purse here. There's some nice green foliage kind of growing in the cracks of the stones here. But again, you don't see enough of it to really understand the full pattern. I guess you could say the same here, but you get the idea. It's a longer fingerless mitt. This, though, is the first pattern that you see, and I just feel like this is a miss. So for aesthetic impact, I'm giving it a 2.5. That's really critical. Dang. Okay, so that is going to be a 20 point altogether, which puts this into A tier. Are we getting dark in here? Yeah. A tier for the penny gloves. Okay, which leads us, appropriately so, to the fire pit mitts. Full disclosure, I have designed this pattern. I wrote this pattern, and I currently make money off of people who go buy this pattern. I am 100% biased. You can actually take everything I'm about to tell you with a grain of salt should you choose. But I will be honest about my opinion here, okay? But again, I said what I said. These are the fingerless mitts, and they are a worsted weight fingerless mitten. There is a long version that goes up to about like here on your arm, and then there is a kind of a medium version, which is similar in length to the penny gloves. These are knit. I designed this with Fisherman's Wool by Lion Brand, so it's a heavy worsted weight. You can really knit this from anything from a DK weight up to an Aran weight, and it's great following the pattern as is. This one here is knit on a much more standard worsted weight yarn, and they're beautiful. I love them. Okay, let's look at the pattern page quality. Okay, it's a $3.25 pattern. We have the basics here. We have the yarn that was used. Only one type of yarn is shown here, and it's worsted weight. Gauge, needle size. There's only one needle used in this pattern. Yardage. It has 3 sizes. It's available only in English. I'm hoping to change that soon. It gives a link to the pattern website, which I believe might not be to the appropriate. Yes, it takes it to the right website. This is Fiber for the People. Nope. Okay, you see this? This needs to be changed. That's a point off for pattern page quality because this does not take you to the right website. But you have a buy it now link. It gives a suggested yarn. It lets you know that I use Fiber for the People yarn. Again, that's my own yarn. In a yarn base, I don't currently offer regularly. We could call that a ding to the pattern page, but that is the yarn I used for this when I knit it. But I mentioned here that I also use Lion Brand Fisherman's Wool, and then this doesn't matter and is not going to change my thoughts because it's not currently right here on the pattern page. On the pattern page itself, it says you can use any worsted weight. It should say that here. Okay, if we're being honest. 20, the gauge is here, the needles are here. Talks about how you need some notions, gives you some sizes, gives you some measurements. Pattern notes. 2-in-1 pattern, about the long and the short, how the long version does have a little bit of a taper to it. It kind of tapers up the arm. And it gives you some information about how to do this when you're using DPNs to avoid ladders. And then it gives you that faulty link. Oh, I'm glad I'm doing this because I need to fix that. Hey, listen. We're being real here, guys. This pattern page needs work. Get in touch with the designer. Pattern page needs work. We're giving it a 2.5. It's the afternoon. Okay, 2.5 for the pattern page quality. It's not bad, but it needs work. Okay, let's go up to repeatability. I've knit these so many times, and some folks have gotten in touch with me to tell me that they knit these every year for Christmas gifts. So I'm gonna I'm gonna give myself a little bit of a pat on the back here. Okay, when it comes to repeatability. They're very repeatable. We're going to give it a 4. I'm being more critical because whatever. It's a 4. I would say it's like 4.5. I'm going to give myself another half point because it's very repeatable. They're very fast. You knit them so fast. I'm saying. Okay. Nope. Wearability and practical use. Guys, okay. These ones that are more of like a medium length are very wearable. I would give it 5 points for that because they're very wearable. These ones are not for everybody because it's very long, right? So it's going to either bunch up or whatever. So that's not for everybody. So I'm going to take a point off for that. So we're going to say it's 4 points for wearability. Yeah, 4 points for wearability. But you can see it's a very wearable pattern. It's just all stockinette stitch, very minimal. You can have fun with color here if you want, make it statement piece, but it's very wearable. Design intelligence. When I did the longer ones, I really wanted to make sure that when they were going up the arm, as your arm widened, that they didn't start to restrict and like kind of compress your arm as they go. So that's why I added that little shaping to taper them. It's a real simple increase kind of placed in a certain spot so that it does that. Other than that, I mean, there's nothing really crazy going on here, but I'll go ahead and say that it's a 3.5 for design intelligence. Is that what I gave the penny gloves? It's kind of a similar thing. And then also you have multiple sizes, lengths. So I'm going to give myself a 3.5 for that. I mean, hey, when in Rome. I don't think that's the appropriate sentiment. Okay, and then lastly, aesthetic impact. Okay. This photo is 4 photos in one. Collages like this do not carry the biggest aesthetic impact. They don't deliver the punch you would expect because there's too much going on. All right. This shouldn't be 4 photos. This should be this one, maybe. Or not freezing on me. This is slow. This one, but there's no background, no context, and it takes the fun out. This one is cute because you get the coffee, get a little bit of context going on. This is like one of my early, this is 2018, 2017. I was pregnant when I was doing these. This one I like. This one I like. I mean, any of these could be great for that aesthetic impact. This one misses the mark only because I feel like it's too much to look at. So any one of these photos would have been better. So I say for visual or aesthetic impact, I'm going to take off a point for that because I think this is visually appealing. And I like the context that it gives, the story that it tells, a little campfire. But I feel like it shouldn't be a collage. So we're going to say 4. Okay, so this gives us 18.5 points. I'm going to add another half a point because it's my own pattern. And I'm just going to go ahead and own my bias. And that's going to put this into a 19-point A tier. Yeah, I mean, guys, it belongs up here. But we'll be honest, okay? They're a fantastic pair of mittens, by the way. A tier for the fire pit mitts. We're just being real, okay? What are you going to do? All right, the next pattern that we have... No, we don't need you anymore. The next pattern that we have going back is the Molly Mini. Molly Mini. Not the Molly, the Molly Mini. And that is this adorable little number right here. You guys, I love this. Okay, hold on. Let's look at the pattern page. It's getting really dark in here. Well, it's not too dark. Let's go. Make sure everything's still recording. Make sure we're all good. Okay. I get nervous sometimes. All right. Pattern. It's free. Free download. This is by Lolita Doobie. We have all kinds of great information here. So we have the sizes. It is written. Okay, whoa. Okay, it is available in English and French. This portion is in French. Okay, so the pattern page is written in French, but it's fine because all you have to do is just click on this and translate to English, and then it does it for you. Okay, that's right-clicking, translate to English. We don't need to worry too much about that. All the information is here. It gives us information about how to customize the fit, sizes, the type of yarn, or any other yarn that allows you to obtain the correct gauge, which is an important note to add. The yardage, the number of balls if you're using that particular yarn, the sample gauge that's knit. All of this is here. It gives you techniques listed and the difficulty level, and then it gives you the email address of the designer. This is fantastic. So we're going to give it a 5. 5 for pattern page quality. Let's go up to repeatability. You guys, it's a really small design, but I have to tell you, I don't know how often you're knitting baby sweaters. I've never knit a baby sweater, and if I did knit a baby sweater, chances are it'd probably be one of the only baby sweaters I knit. However, if you knit baby items frequently, I can imagine that this design would be one you repeat because it looks pretty classic, like a classic shape. Hello, what a cute, wow. That vibe. I'm loving that. So for repeatability, I mean, it is a class, is it raglan? A raglan pullover? Or is it circular? It's a circular yoke. Yeah, I mean, it's super easy and it's super fast. I mean, look at how small that is. I think for repeatability, I'm going to give it a 4. It is a baby sweater, though. I mean, I don't know. But technically speaking, I would say, yeah, 4. Okay. In terms of wearability and practical use, I'm going to have to take this one down, though, because it is a baby sweater. I don't think they're practical. I just don't think that they're practical. Not personally, and I just don't think that they're practical. Wearability, I don't know how much a baby wants to wear a knit sweater. So I'm going to take this down to a 3. I just don't find it to be a practical item. And I don't necessarily think that babies love wearing them. But your mileage may vary. This is just what I'm going to give this design in terms of practicality and wearability. I'm not wearing it though. So if you were to grow this to my full size, if there's such a thing as a Molly regular, it's a very wearable sweater. Okay, let's add a half a point. You pulled my leg. Okay. Design intelligence. I mean, just based on the photos, let's go back to the description. Let's see if there's anything. The difficulty, you can customize it with our various toppers available individually to complement the basic version. Okay, so the pattern gives you different top portions of the sweater that you can do to give it a custom look. And I think that that's cool. I'm going to go ahead and give it a 4 because it's taking into consideration that you might want to do different things with the circular yoke, and it's providing you with those details. And it's great for beginners. It mentions it here. It's good for beginners, and it's a great place to learn. So I'm going to give that a 4.5. I think that makes it more valuable, but it also requires that design intelligence is there for sure. All right, aesthetic impact. Here we go. Aesthetic impact. This is the primary photo that you land on. Baby items. I feel like when you are scrolling through Ravelry, it's hard to know for sure what it is that you're supposed to be looking at, if it's this that she's wearing or if it's this that the baby is wearing. Obviously, you figure this out, right, by the name and you go into it. But for just those at-a-glance moments, you really want the focal point to be on the baby. So I would say that this probably should be the main photo because we only really see the baby front and center wearing it. We know this is going to be a baby sweater pattern, and we get some really nice context. This is a beautiful photo with really pretty colors. I love the pop of orangey red back here. I think that's important, particularly here. Another one could be this because it showcases both. I think this must be the maxi version, but it kind of hides like the details. This one could be good, but it also gives the impression it's a color work sweater only, and that could be deceiving for some. So if I had to choose, I would say this is a great one for aesthetic impact as opposed to this. So for aesthetic impact, I'm going to give this a 3.5 because I feel like this one doesn't draw the eye as much as some of the other ones. So 3.5 for aesthetic impact. And that takes us to 20.5, and that is firmly placing this in A tier. Now, we've gone through all of the patterns. This was a ton of fun. I really loved this. I did 11 because of the fire pit mitts. I want to move some things around here based now that I've had some chance to like kind of go through this. And I want to move some things around. I'm going to be dropping this one down to C tier. It just is not one that I wouldn't even put it, because B tier to me, it's like it has potential for me personally. That is not one I have any interest in. It doesn't even, in my opinion, have potential for me because it's just completely out of my wheelhouse in terms of my style. So I'm dropping that down into C tier, which means it's serviceable, but it's not bad. It's just not remarkable. Okay. Let's see. The penny gloves. I'm going to move those up a little more, and I'm going to drop this one down a little bit. Then I'm going to put, if I think of B tier, which is dependable with potential, good for specific styles or preferences, but not universal winners, I'm going to drop this one down to B tier for me. I don't know. That's just where that's at. And then I'm going to be taking these mittens here. As much as I do love them and I think they're a great pattern, they're not S tier. They're not S tier for me. In fact, I don't even know if they don't go that high up. I would put them here, and I would drop this one down. Penny gloves, I'm going to put a little closer up here. There. I like that better. I think that this is much more accurate. I would even take the Antler and put it up here a little. Can you tell that the family's home? I don't know if you guys can hear all that. Yeah, so I would do it this way. I think this is much more aligned with where I'm at. So in top tier, S tier, this is our S tier, top tier, we have our Antler Toque by Tin Can Knits. And then we have the Albina by Caitlin Hunter. Moving down to A tier, we have the Fire Pit Mitts by yours truly, the Penny Gloves by Petite Knit. This one here is the Self Fringing Shawl by L&B Yarn. And then we have the Tin Can Knits Simplest Mittens. This is the Touchstone Shawl right here. And then we have the mini, what is the mini? The Molly Mini, and that's our A tier. Our B tier is the Hurricane Hat and the Della Cowl. And then dropping down into C tier, we didn't have any D tiers. That's good. C tier, I'm sorry, it's just not for me. It's definitely for a lot of other people though, and it might actually be for you, and that's great, but it's not for me, and that is the Love Note by Tin Can Knits. But Tin Can Knits wins the day here, guys. This was fun. I enjoyed this. Now, I feel like I went through that fast. Maybe it's because I had a lot going on today. I don't know, but I enjoyed this. So next time we do this, and I hope there is a next time, if you would like to see another one where we pull from that wheel spinner some more and we dive into more of these and get some more commentary on some of these patterns, let me know in the comments. I would love to do another one because this was a lot of fun. And I'll, relax into it a little bit more. But this was good times. I will have the link to the bundle for all of these over down in the description box. So definitely check that out. And I think that's it for now. Thank you guys for helping me with this and submitting these. If you want, go submit some more. I can add some more to the wheel and we'll have more to choose from. But eventually I'll probably stop pulling from that community post because we have a lot to go off of. But thank you guys for hanging out with me. I hope you took value from this video. And if you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Definitely subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next one. Happy knitting, happy making, happy whatever it is that you're doing. Take care, be well, and I'll see you soon. Bye.